Hello, thank you for stopping by. I hope you've been enjoying the content of our channel. In this tutorial, I'm going to take you through a very simple process which you are going to enjoy. Now, the process is not going to be entirely new, but it's something that most researchers don't consider it important. You are aware that every article published by a researcher is meant to earn the researcher some credits. One of such is having the material being read and mentioned by other authors. There is this sense of fulfillment and joy that comes when one's work is being referenced in other works. If you have papers listed in web repositories like Google Scholar, ResearchGate, Academia, and the rest, you get alerted when someone reads your work or when you get cited. Now, there is this joy that comes to you when you've been notified that so persons have read your work. For instance, if you have works on ResearchGate, every week ResearchGate gets to prompt researchers of how many persons have read their works and who is requesting for maybe full text or who has cited one's article, where the article has been cited, and all of that. There's this sense of fulfillment that comes. Unfortunately, the case is different when you have your articles published in paper-based journals. You can't really say who has read your work. You can't tell where the work has gone to. You can't measure the impact of the published work that you have on papers. So you cannot really measure the extent that work has gone. In my last video, I demonstrated how to calculate H index and M index, obviously, which you can do basically on articles that you have online. It is easier that way, but for articles that you have offline, it becomes a little bit difficult. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make use of your papers that you have offline. I mean, those papers that have been published on paper-based journals, how you can make use of them so that one can get to read your works and then your work can get cited, and when it is cited, you can get to be notified and people can get to request for the papers if you don't have the right to put the full paper online. So let's go along. I'm going to use two common platforms that we already know, ResearchGate and Google Scholar, and then I will demonstrate the easiest way to get that done. I know most researchers already know how to do it, but not everyone knows the essence of doing this and why this should be done, especially for offline papers. That's what this tutorial seeks to address and to help scholars so they can make the most use of whatever paper that you have published or your conference papers. So let's get started. So I'm going to use ResearchGate first. So what you do is, once you are on your ResearchGate, of course, before you can do this, it means you must have a ResearchGate account, which is free of charge. So what you do is simply go to add new, which is what you have on the top right hand corner of the screen, add new. And then it brings up a list of different types of materials that can be added. So we'll go for published research, and then we select article, and then it's asking us to upload our file. Now, some publishers retain the copyright ownership of our published works. I know some publishers will allow you to distribute your work after 12 months. Some will say 24 months. Some will say, okay, the copyright ownership remains with the author, so you can get to distribute. So whatever the condition is, you need to find out. But for offline articles, what it basically means is that the copyright ownership has been transferred to the publisher. You only have access to your paper based on what is on the journal when you have a hard copy of the journal. So in this case, we might have to skip this. However, if the copyright remains with you, what you can simply do, what would advise researchers to do, is to request that the publisher will send you a PDF format of the approved paper with the metadata of the paper, that the journal name, the details of the journal, and then the details of the paper can be sent to you in the PDF format that you can go ahead to upload. Otherwise, click on skip. So when you click on skip, then you select your publication type, obviously article, and then we'll skip this file since you don't have a file to upload, and then you put your paper title here. Let me just put let's say this is the title of the paper that we have in our own offline journal, and then you add your authors or co-authors as you want to. If they're already on ResearchGate, if they are not, you can type their names. So Peter, let's say C P Paul. Maybe that's the author we want to add. And then you can add as many authors as you have on your paper, and then the publication dates when that paper was published. You select this and add, and then of course you are not going to have DOI. DOI is basically for identifying objects that articles that are available on the web. So you don't have this since you don't have the article on the web, so you just click on upload, and then you type the abstracts of that article exactly the way it was published. So you might need to, since it is on a paper, you may have to type it out on Word and then you copy and paste here. So let me just use one. So let's say this is an abstract of a paper that's been published on that title, and then now we are asked to check whether the paper has been peer reviewed or otherwise. Let's say yes, and then it is obvious that the journal may not be available online, so if you try to search for the journal name, you are not going to find here, so you may have to skip this and then put the details of the publication. Say volume 12, issue 4, say pages 12 to say 18, and then of course you are going to skip this DOI and then add. So it's not asking us to add this article to a particular project if it belongs to a particular project. Otherwise, it does say not. And then this author is not on ResearchGate, so you might have to supply the email address of the author. Otherwise, you can say not now. So that's all. You've added the article successfully to your ResearchGate account. What it means is that, let's just view it and see. Now, this is the title of the article, the names of the author, of the authors, and then we have the abstracts here. And then as people get to search for materials or articles related to your title, your title will likely appear on their search. So they'll get to read the abstract, and then they can make a request for the full paper. At that point, since the paper is on the paper-based journal, you may have to direct them on how they can get a copy of the journal so that they can read that article. That is, if you don't have the right to distribute your own paper independently, so you can go ahead. What it means is that when people get to read this, they will have an option to make a request to you on this platform. Then you'll be notified. Then you can go ahead to send or arrange with them on how you can get the full paper to read. So as they get to read, now your statistics here will begin to count. Research interest, okay, the number of citations for that work, recommendations, and number of reads. These statistics will begin to count as people begin to read. So that way you have in a way made your offline paper to begin to attract audience, so that when people get to read and cite, of course when people get to cite, here under your citations, statistics begin to count how many citations you have, and then how many persons are reading, comment, and then all of those statistics begin to pop up. All of this will help to calculate your H index and M index as you make progress in your career. So that is how to do this on ResearchGate. Now we can do the same thing on Google Scholar. So let's see how that works on Google Scholar. So on your Google Scholar account, you just click on this plus sign, and then you go to add article manually, and then it brings up this box for you to fill. Then you put the title of your paper here. So let's put that same title, put the same title here, and then the authors. There is a format for us to write the name of the authors. So it will be surname, let's say Efiong, initial, and then semicolon for the next author. What we had was Paul, CP. Okay, so we've added our authors and the publication dates. Okay, you add only the year, or the year and the month, or the dates. Okay, let's say it was 12 of 9. Okay, it's year first. Say 2022 slash the month. Say it was maybe December, and then say 9th. And then the name of the journal you can type at this point. Remember when we did this on ResearchGate, we had no option to type the name of, or the title, or the name of the journal. So at this point, the name of that your journal where the paper was published, you can type it here. Let's say it was Journal of Humanity and Science. That's where the paper was published. That would be, say the acronym is JHS. Okay. And then the volume, the volume 12, issue 4, pages 12 to 16. And then the publisher, if it is a departmental journal or a college or faculty journal or whatever it is, you put it there. You can say Faculty of Humanities, yes, and then you put the institution, Federal University of Arts. Okay, say Enugu, if you have such. So with that, go ahead and add, and then the article gets loaded. So we can look for it here, see it here. So the article is here. All right. So this way, when people search for articles on Google, and then if the titles or whatever they are searching, the keywords reflect what you already have in your title, they can contact you for you to send the full article, to them. And if this work is cited, then your citation index will begin to count for you to help compute your H index and other indices. So that's how to calculate. That's how to make use of your offline papers, such that they can begin to count. People can begin to read, and then even when they read, because I obviously know that your offline papers are being read, but you don't know who is reading them and who is citing those works. So this process I've shown to you will help you to know who is reading your work, and then who is requesting for that work. So it will have a wider reach, and then you begin to earn the credits that you're supposed to earn. Alright, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's short and brief, and I hope you've enjoyed every bit of it. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. There are many more things we're going to be revealing, we're going to be teaching and demonstrating on this channel. Subscribe to the channel, share the content, and enable your notification bell so they get to be notified whenever we drop new content. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye for now.